Did I just... Huh. I did not recognize that before. Huh. May have to mess around with a few things later. Anywho. Next case. Kay Faraday, the young lady who calls herself the second Yatagarasu. The piece of cloth that she conjured up has taken me back to many years ago. Yeah, that's right. I did it. I killed the guy. But it was the great thing Yatagarasu that told me to do it. Ask the defendant, just what exactly are you trying to say? Don't you get it? I know the true identity of the Yatagarasu. The Yatagarasu is the man standing over there at the prosecutor's bench. Are you saying that I'm the Yatagarasu? Don't you dare deny it. You told me to kill him when you snuck into the embassy. Are you claiming that Mr. Faraday is the Yatagarasu? That's exactly what I'm saying. Mr. Rell, I think we've heard just about enough of you. Your Honour, please listen to me. I'm telling the truth. You gotta believe me! In accordance with the defendant's accusation, a new prosecutor shall be called to replace Mr. Faraday. This court will be in recess until the new prosecutor is ready. It's almost time for me to enter the courtroom. And so it is that my first assignment as a prosecutor will be as a replacement for a prosecutor who has been accused by the defendant. Edgeworth? Sir. I'll do his voice again, do I? Have you read over all the documents regarding this trial? Yes, sir. I've memorized everything there is to know. Very good. The paperwork for the prosecutor's substitution is just about complete. Edgeworth, always bear in mind that as your mentor, I, Manfred von Palmer, will accept nothing short of perfection. I understand, sir. I have the chance to stand in court at such an early stage in my career. I am honoured and proud. As I have watched over your studies, I am giving you this very rare chance. Prove yourself. Crush the defendant's pathetic lies into oblivion. Yes, sir. That such a legendary prosecutor is watching over and judging my performance. I have to be perfect in every way. Today's trial should have ended in just 1 minute. Because the defendant was picked up by the security camera, correct? Exactly. The killer had the gall to say that he only killed because he was instructed to do so. Even more outrageous is his claim that the case prosecutor, Brian Faraday, gave the order. Faraday is such a fool. He's been cornered by his very own prey. Sir, are you an acquaintance of Mr. Brian Faraday? He is a pathetic man who speaks nothing but nonsense. Nonsense? He once tried to explain to me a way of punishing those who cannot be brought to court. Those who cannot be brought to court? That is nonsense, for no man is above the law. Well, there are always a few exceptions. However, there is no reason to even deal with such individuals. A prosecutor is a guardian of the court, one with no obligation to outside matters. Thus, there is no reason to deal with such individuals. I see. Edgeworth, disgracing yourself as Faraday has will not be forgiven. No fear. I will not let you down, sir. In place of the accused, Prosecutor Brian Faraday, I'll prove the defendant's guilt. Very good. I've secured an hour of recess for you to prepare to do just that. Show them all the power of Karma. So, have you achieved a firm understanding of the case? Yes, sir. I've memorized everything that is written down in the case files. Well then, explain the case to me. I want to see if you really know what you're talking about. Understood. A murder was committed on September 8th in front of the Ethiopian Embassy. The victim, Mr. Deedman... Really? The victim, Mr. Deedman, was a staff member at the embassy. The defendant in this case, Mr. Mackerel, was held for questioning the night of the incident as he was deemed suspicious. He was quickly placed under arrest for possession of the murder weapon, a gun. Furthermore, at the time of the murder, the great thief Yatagarasu had successfully infiltrated the Ethiopian embassy as well. At first, Will claimed that he himself was the Yatagarasu, but that he did not kill a dead man. I wonder what he expected to gain from such a desperate lie. It's possible that he wants to go down while in the spotlight, if he is found guilty. There truly is no limit to people's insanity. Inanity, whatever. But I digress. Continue, Edgeworth. Yes, sir. During the trial, the prosecution presented the security footage that captured the murder. The footage clearly showed Mr. Rell as the murderer. The act of Mr. Rell firing the gun could be clearly seen from the visitors' gallery. Upon seeing that, the defendant retracted his statement and admitted to the murder. I did it because I was told to, by the real Yatagarasu, Brian Faraday. That sounds about right. However, you've forgotten one thing. While this may appear to simply be the murder of a Cappadonian embassy staff member, people are actually referring to it as the second KG-8 incident. The second KG-8 incident? I'm very sorry, sir. I fear I failed to study hard enough. Well, even among the police, it's information that only a select few are privy to. Could you please enlighten me, sir? So, what do you mean by the second KG-8 incident? In order for me to tell you that, you must first learn about the original case. Take a look at these documents. This is a 3-year-old newspaper. You have heard of the Amano Group scandal before, correct? Yes, I have. The secretary of Ernest Amano, the Amano Group's director, was arrested under suspicion of smuggling. Correct. CCU was an employee of the Amano Group, and the sole witness to the smuggling operation. It was she who brought the crime to light. However, Miss Yu was silenced before she could testify in court. Wasn't a Cafedonian embassy staff member arrested for the murder? Yes. A Cafedonian by the name of Manny Koshin was the suspect. However, due to lack of evidence, the case went unresolved. Lack of evidence? Huh. If only I was in charge of the case. I would have done everything in my power to prove his guilt. To make sure that all criminals are found guilty, my mentor really is dedicated. Faraday was the prosecutor on the case then, and he was as pathetic as ever. Mr. Faraday was in charge of the KG-8 incident as well? That's right. And now, once again, the victim of the case you are currently assigned to was someone who was scheduled to testify against that smuggling organization. And just like last time, the victim was murdered right before he was to testify. You're catching on. The victim was murdered just before his day in court against the smuggling organization. Events are occurring almost exactly the same way as they did in the KG-8 incident. So that's why it's being called the second KG-8 incident? Yes. Yet, there is one difference between the two incidents. What would that be? The so-called noble thief that is sending everyone into an uproar. The great thief, Yatagarasu. Yatagarasu? I'd better find out more. If it is true that the Yatagarasu showed up at the Cafedonian embassy, what could he or she have been after? No doubt to steal any suspicious accounting records and release them publicly. Or more likely, to steal secrets from the Cafedonian embassy itself, since the item that the Yatagarasu stole from there was sent to the police. What was it that the Yatagarasu sent to the police? I don't know the details. Anything related to the Yatagarasu is getting the top secret treatment. Still, I find it very ironic. By returning the stolen item to the police, it was proof positive that the Yatagarasu had infiltrated the embassy on the same day the staff member was killed. Criminals have a way of incriminating themselves, wouldn't you say? That would have to be the first time the Yatagarasu has left evidence behind, correct? Yes, indeed. If you wish to learn more about the Yatagarasu, then I suggest you ask Faraday. Mr. Faraday? He happens to be the prosecutor in charge of the Yatagarasu case as well. He was the prosecutor in charge of both the KG-8 incident and the Yatagarasu case. Mr. Faraday really has a lot on his plate. What is it, little girl?
You're scary, mister.
Did you need something?
I want to trade these coins with you.
A fistful of dimes, quarters and pennies, but it looks like you've exactly $1. Is this what you want?
Thanks, that's exactly what I needed.
Would that child be here to watch the trial? How disrespectful for a child like that to be running around inside the courthouse. Does no one have respect for this country's judicial system anymore? The paperwork for the prosecutor's substitution is complete. Why, you? Do you even know how much time there is left before the trial resumes? I'm so sorry, sir. I can have you mopping up this courthouse instead of protecting it in an instant. It's no bother, sir. Not being completely prepared could prove to be a perfect handicap for me. A proud one you are. You had better collect the evidence from Faraday and prepare yourself. It's time for your debut, Edgeworth. Just what is going on? Why isn't Faraday here yet? How is it possible the defense is not prepared yet either? Bailiff, where is Mr. Faraday? I'm not sure. I wasn't really paying attention. Ah, you must be the one Mr. Wonkama recommended. I hear this will be your first trial. I look forward to seeing how you perform. Oh, by the way, was there someone celebrating a birthday during the recess? I could have sworn that I heard a popper going off. Come to think of it, the other day with my grandson. Sir, it looks like the trial is about to resume. However... Yes, it will be all but impossible to prove the witness a liar without the evidence from Faraday. What is that blasted buffoon up to? It's an emergency, sirs! Silence! There shall be no yelling in this sacred hall of law. Bailiff, remove that man from this courtroom at once. Please, wait. You have to listen to me. There's an emergency. Defendant lobby number 2. Mr. Faraday and the defendant. The two of them, they're both dead, Your Honour. What? 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 Stay back. No one's around on the crime scene. Period. Just who does this oddball think he is?
This is becoming quite the hotspot.
Isn't she Mr. Rao's defense attorney? Hey you! No running in the hallway, pal! And who are you to tell me what to do? I'll never find out what's going on like this. It's time for some civil discourse. Excuse me, but who are you? Detective Tyrrell Bad. Homicide. I was informed of the situation and came as quickly as possible. So how did you arrive and inspect the body before me? Faraday requested for me to testify in the trial. Plain and simple. Mr. Faraday requested that you be here? I've already contacted HQ about the situation. I've got nothing to say to you, kid. Kid? I'm Mr. Faraday's substitute in today's trial. Therefore, I insist that you update me on the situation. Can't back down here. I have a right to know. Do I need to teach you a thing or two about how to talk to adults, kid? Is he threatening me? Is he going for his gun? It's just a mirror. How dare he trick me like that? Faraday was stabbed to death with some kind of blade, and he had a gun in his hand. The other man, Mr. Mackrell, was shot and killed. He was found holding a bloody knife in his hand. Was there anyone else who went into defendant lobby number 2? Yeah, that big lot over there. His name's Gumshoe. He was in charge of guarding the place. He's claiming that no one else entered the room. If that's the case, then they must have killed each other, correct? Maybe. Such impudence. This guy is really testing my patience. Why was I not informed that you were going to testify in court? Homicides aren't my only gig. The Atagarasu case is also one of my assignments. So you were called upon to comment on the Atagarasu's characteristics in order to assess if Mr. Faraday really was the Atagarasu or not. Oh well, looks like you just might have a brain after all in that head of yours, son. Son? I'm not your son, Pops. And you are? Who, me? Oh, hey, pal. It's common courtesy to tell someone your name first before asking theirs. Point taken. My name is Miles Edgeworth. I'm a district prosecutor. A prosecutor? I've never seen a prosecutor as young as you, pal. I've told you my name. Now would you mind telling me yours? Detective Dick Gumshoe. And just recently I achieved my dream of becoming a detective. More than a dream. It was what I was born to do. Oh, wait, maybe I should check and make sure I'm not really in some crazy dream first. This detective is entirely too excited to be at a murder scene. So, Detective Gumshoe, would you mind telling me what you know about the incident? Well, you know that I don't have to tell you anything, right? I know that. But it would behoove you to fill me in on what you know. Well, you're a well one for such a youngster, aren't you? Oh, anyway, Detective Bad is the one in charge. So you're just gonna have to ask him for all the details, okay? As for me, I was guarding the door to defendant lobby number 2. So you were the guard detail. Did you notice anything strange while you were on duty? Well, I freaked out when I heard a gunshot, and then I kind of froze. You are a detective and measly gunshots scared you that much? Then again, I can hardly claim to not know what it's like to hear one of close range. Well, then Detective Bad came running to the scene. We went into lobby number 2 together. Both men were lying there, dead. Is that everything? Yeah, that's it. I was in the hallway the whole time, but I didn't hear a single peep of a struggle. Interesting. Other than a gunshot, you didn't hear a single sound of commotion. Do you have a minute?
You know, I'm not really into talking to people I don't know. Especially at a time like this.
Ah, I apologize for not introducing myself before bothering you. My name is Miles Edgeworth. I was to take Mr. Faraday's place in court.
Edgeworth, huh? Never heard of you. So Faraday's substitute is a newbie, huh?
I'll have you know, madam, that I studied under Manfred von Karma. Do not take me for some naive novice.
Do not take me for some naive novice. Oh, so you're a student of von Karma. I should have... Those clothes are a dead giveaway.
Stop right there. These are the garments of one who gallantly presents the facts.
Thanks for the great laugh. But try not to make me laugh so much, okay?
I wasn't trying to do anything of the sort.
Oh, just kidding. I was just goofing around. By the way, do you know who I am? My name is Callisto Yu. And if you're telling the truth, then we were about to go head-to-head in court.
Ah, but of course. I've heard much about you, Miss Yu.
But of course, I've heard much about you.
Blech, I really should have a cup of water when I do this.
You're a regular Shakespeare.
Did I say something funny? I'd like you to update me on the situation.
I don't really know anything. Why don't you try talking to those detectives over there?
If that's the case, then why are you here? What's so funny?
It's just that the way you speak is so tactless. The person I was going against in court until only a little while ago was just murdered.
Aye.
Not like I could go back into the courtroom pretending as though nothing happened.
That's a good point. I apologize for asking such an insensitive question.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Miss Yu! There is someone here who wishes to see you.
Who is it?
Cartophian embassy staff member by the name of Manny Kokine. Koshin.
What?
What's going on? Detective Bad and Miss Yu's moves just changed all of a sudden. Wait a second. Wasn't Manny Koshin?
I'll be right there.
It's nice to see you again, Miss Yu.
Why are you here? I have no desire to ever see you again.
Now. Actually, would you mind stepping outside for a brief chat?
Fine, let's go.
Bad. Long Karma. Been a long time. I knew you would show up. You usually do when the Yatagarasu is involved, and I see this case is no exception. Do you know Detective Bad, sir? Yes. He's like an old bloodhound that never leaves the scene of a crime. If only you would give a promotion and move on. It's the crime scene where a detective is most useful and effective. It's not like I don't know that. Moving on though, Bad. The man that I just passed by. Was he not the suspect from the KG8 incident? So I was right. Just what is that man doing wandering around here? That Faraday. I can't believe he let such an easy catch get away. Imbecile. I would have proved his guilt in 3 minutes. Von Karma. I think you've said enough for now. It's in poor taste to speak like that about the departed. Very well. Back on topic. I'm placing Edgeworth in charge of the investigation here.
Objection!
Papa, how can you place him in charge?
Francesca, what are you doing here?
I'm here for summer vacation. What else?
Francesca von Karma. So she is here on vacation from Germany. She is the daughter of Manfred von Karma and a student of his, who is also a junior to me.
You're the one who's junior to me, and don't you forget it.
You're not conveniently avoiding the bar examinations, are you?
If you were able to pass, then I'll have absolutely no trouble at all. I'd never allow myself to lose to you. Never.
Why does she always have to be this competitive?
Anyway, Papa, are you really assigning Miles Edgeworth to cover the case?
Yes, I am. Why do you ask?
Well, you know, I'm close to becoming a prosecutor myself. And I'm 100% confident that I can do a better job than him.
That's just like Francesca. She has no problem bad-mouthing someone right in front of them. Bad? Yeah. These two will be conducting the investigation. What? You want me to let both these kids loose on the crime scene? This is a perfect opportunity for them to work on their prosecutorial skills. A crime scene is not a place for children to be messing around in. That's bad. Crime scene is not the place for... whatever. I'm the one with the authority over this crime scene, Bad. I will not tolerate complaining. Edgeworth, Francesca, I leave this case to the two of you. Understood, sir.
Yes, Papa.
I'll go take care of the paperwork now. Remember, I'll accept nothing but a perfect report from the both of you. Do not disappoint me. Hold on, Von Karma. I still haven't agreed to this.
Miles Edgeworth.
It's been quite some time, Francesca.
This will be the perfect chance for us to see which of us is truly worthy of the Von Karma name.
Would it kill you to at least say hello?
Long time no see.
Very good.
Just because you came a prosecutor first doesn't mean you can act all proud.
She hasn't changed a bit.
Miles Edgeworth. As I was saying, we shall see which one of us is more worthy of the Von Karma name.
For crying out loud, I've been reduced to a babysitter. It looks like Mr. Von Karma was successful in convincing the detective. It's just like him. He never fails. Now I'd appreciate it if you could quickly run me through the facts, Detective Bad. You're better off checking things out on your own. Very well. Seems like getting help from Detective Bad will be a most arduous task. The only real explanation that they killed each other simultaneously.
Miles Edgeworth, you should listen to someone until they are finished talking.
What are you talking about?
I'll let me say it one more time. This is a competition to see who is truly worthy of the Von Karma name.
The competition?
The person that figures out the truth first wins.
So the person who doesn't discover the truth is a dishonor to the name.
Exactly. I don't care that you became a prosecutor before me. I simply refuse to hear any more foolish things coming from your foolishly foolish mouth.
Fine, whatever makes you happy.
Can I take that as you accepted my challenge?
Once again, whatever makes you happy.
Well then, let's begin the investigation, shall we? I'm going to find the perfect evidence and prettily present it like the professional I am.
Competing to discover the truth behind a crime. How delightfully childish. You kids over there, hold it. Kid?
Sounds you're right, Miles. He just called you a kid.
I said, kids. Kid.
There you call me a kid as well.
I'll do what I please, and I won't allow you to cause a ruckus on my crime scene. Hey, big guy. You're going to watch over these two. Yes, sir. Detective Bad, sir. Now do what I say from now on, kids, okay?
You'd better not get in our face, Scrappy. You'll feel the bite of my whip if you do.
Then you, prosecutor boy. Let's get your investigation started already, alright? Right, now even that detective is treating me like a child. Alright, it's time to get investigating. Get a move on, prosecutor boy. My name is Miles Edgeworth. And if you were to call me prosecutor boy one more time, it will be my duty as a prosecutor to look into your monthly salary. What? And what would you do with my salary after you saw how much it was? And that's up to you now, isn't it? Really? Oh, sounds good, pal. He's so naive. Detective Bad, can I have a word with you? What is it? It appears that both a knife and a gun are used as murder weapons. Yeah, it does. That leads us to our first question of the investigation. Where did the men acquire the weapons? The gun was inside a Faraday's bag. It was a piece of evidence that was presented in the trial earlier today. It was used to kill the Confidian embassy staff member. But I've never heard anything about the knife. Mr. Roll was being held by the police. There's no way he could have brought it in. Which means it's possible that Faraday had the knife on him from the start as well. Could it have been a piece of evidence that had yet to be presented? But then why doesn't Detective Bad know about it? Wait, what if... It's possible that Mr. Faraday brought the knife in under the guise of prosecutorial evidence. He could have then brought it out and attacked Mr. Rell with it. Maybe you got a brain in there after all, kid. Is he going to treat me like a child forever? It looks like Mr. Faraday attacked Mr. Rell first, who then counterattacked. That's the only logical conclusion you can draw from a scene like this. Not yet. I feel that it's much too early to be drawing conclusions already. I must first find conclusive evidence so as to ensure the honour of the Von Karma name. the window is opened and there's a fresh flowery scent in the air.
Oh, flowers in the garden down there are so gross and ghastly.
Do you think maybe you could try offering something useful for a change?
Or at least there's no way someone escaped through this window, pal. They wouldn't wake up and smell the flowers after a fall from the 3rd floor.
Are you willfully ignoring the facts that there are also iron bars on the windows?
Well, yeah, I guess there's that too. Either way, no one can get through these windows, right?
They thought of everything when they were designing this courthouse. Very nice.
There's some stuff in the bag, pal.
I suppose this was Mr. Faraday's bag. It's probably the trial evidence that I was supposed to collect from him.
This is the evidence. Oh, I better not touch it. I'll leave prints on it.
Do you just not pay attention to anything you do? There are some plastic bags stacked up on the table. There's a tea set too, but there doesn't seem to be any sign of disturbance.
Oh yeah, the table's all neat and tidy. Maybe they were super quiet in their scuffle. After all, I didn't hear anything from out in the hallway, you know.
Maybe the plastic bags scattered on the floor are throwing us off.
Whoa!
What is it, Detective Gumshoe?
My TV at home is so tiny compared to this one, pal.
Then perhaps you should purchase a more normal-sized television, like this one.
Oh, let me see here. Wow, this thing is huge. Oh, way too noisy.
You're the noisy one, Scruffy.
Don't touch. You'll get your fingerprints all over it.
But I didn't touch it.
Preservation of the crime scene is the foundation of detective work. The foundation, huh? Sounds like something the rookie here needs to shore up on. Looks like Mr. Faraday fell on top of Mr. Rowell. First glance, it seems like they may have killed each other. However,
Oh, using logic, the only logical conclusion is...
what's with that outburst for? What was that for even?
My detective's instinct just hit me really hard. It was Mr. Rowell that fell first, see?
You don't need a detective's instincts for that. It's common sense. I suppose we won't know much more than that until after I examine the bodies. Mr. Faraday. How ironic it is for him to lose his life in a courthouse.
Oh yeah. Why did it have to be like this? I don't know what to say. I can't believe this happened while I was on watch, pal.
Rather than beating yourself up, you should spend your time continuing the investigation. Didn't you become a detective in order to solve crimes?
Yeah.
Then get back to work. Find out the cause of this murder.
Right, I'm on it, pal. Looks like Mr. Rowell died with a knife in his hands.
There's some blood stuck on it.
And he must have used this as a weapon. Yep, no doubt about it.
Was Mr. Faraday carrying this on his personage? Did he bring this as a piece of evidence for the trial? Or did he bring it with a very different intention in mind? I should jot some notes down about it.
Well, it looks like Mr. Faraday died while holding a gun in his right hand.
So he shot Mr. Brown and then fell on top of him while still gripping onto the gun.
Well, I guess that does seem kind of strange, huh? I mean, why would Mr. Faraday know how to fire a gun?
Not exactly rocket scientist. Even I know how to pull a trigger. Although I doubt I'll ever need to use one.
Well, I hope I never have to fire a gun either, pal. It sure does look cool to hold a gun in your hands.
It appears that the police's screening procedures need a thorough review. Anyway, I should jot down some notes about the handgun in Mr. Faraday's hand. Why are there plastic bags scattered all around?
Well, those bags are for keeping evidence safe, pal.
Do I know that much, Detective?
You sure are good at this stuff, aren't you, pal?
Normally I'd be happy when someone compliments me, but when it's this guy... Anyway, could these plastic bags be evidence of a fight between the two men?
Oh, his hand is all black down there, see? I wonder what it could be.
If you look closely, this blotching pattern resembles an ink stain.
Or an ink stain?
Yes, I usually get ink on my own hand when I use my feather pen.
A feather pen? I've never seen one before. Sure you aren't just making it up, pal?
Mr. Rell's cause of death was from being shot, correct?
Well, that's what we think, but it's hard to tell with him lying face down.
Death is bad enough, and it's truly lamentable that someone would try to hide the truth.
Are you sure they were trying to hide something?
I'll confirm Mr. Rell's cause of death with his body positioned like this. Detective Bad, I'd like to examine the bodies in further detail if possible.
What's this? You're not able to form a theory with them the way they are?
I believe an examination of the bodies is vital to finding the perfect evidence. Don't you?
I suppose you do have a point. Well, hurry up and get on with it.
Maybe.
Yes, sir. We've taken enough photos of the scene, sir.
There you have it.
Do not approve?
Of course not.
What?
Investigation of a crime scene is the work of a detective, so don't touch a thing. Hey, big fella, turn over the bodies for me, will ya?
Okay. Oh, please forgive me, Mr. Faraday, sir.
Don't shoot. Do not get emotionally involved. Remember, you're a detective.
Yes, sir. Understood, sir.
There's something in his breast pocket. It's a fountain pen.
Hey, you know, I always keep a pencil behind my ear. It's because Detective Band is always telling me, you should always write your name on everything you own.
Yes, somehow you do strike me as quite a forgetful individual. There's a knife wound in his chest here.
There's a knife wound in his chest here, see?
I wonder if the wound matches the knife Mr. Well is holding. Maybe. Yes, sir. Verifying now, sir. Make it quick. From the look of things, one could deduce that the knife Mr. Rell is holding is what killed Mr. Faraday. Shot in the chest.
Takes some guts to fire a gun in a courthouse. I mean, I've been a detective for a whole week, and I still haven't fired a single round yet.
There aren't any burn marks on his clothes. That must mean...
Oh wait, what marks?
A round grows very hot as it is discharged from a firearm. Therefore, burn marks are usually left when a shot is fired from point-blank range. Ergo, Mr. Rell must have been shot from at least a yard or two away.
Well, you sure do know a bunch of neat stuff about your age, pal.
Apparently, this detective has as much common knowledge as your everyday marsupial. Let us now try to understand how the two men died. First, Mr. Faraday took the gun and the knife out from today's trial evidence. Then he aimed the gun at Mr. Rell and fired. However, Mr. Rell managed to grab the knife and counter Mr. Faraday while being shot. Then the two men fell together where they stood. That is my theory in any case.
What a crazy way to go.
Still, something about that explanation just doesn't seem right. I believe I now have a firmer grasp on what happened here. That splotch on Mr. Faraday's hand, I wonder if it might be the ink from his fountain pen.
Oh, well, let's ask the lab guy.
Detective Gumshoe, I confirm that the substance on Mr. Faraday's hand is the ink from his fountain pen.
Oh, I see. Good work. You know, I always wanted to say that, even if it was just one time in my life.
If Mr. Faraday wrote with this fountain pen in his left hand, I think it's fair to assume that he was left-handed. It appears that Mr. Faraday's pen is very important to our case as well.
Okay, you say so, pal.
This is a very tidy pile of plastic bags on the table. There is a very tidy pile of plastic bags on the table, and yet a portion of them wound up scattered on the floor as well. It's not likely that the ones on the floor were knocked over during the struggle. In which case, might there not be another explanation as to how they got there?
For another reason?
I believe it's possible that the blood on the outside of the bag is related somehow.
Please get that blood away from me, pal.
Detective Gumshoe, whose blood is on this bag?
Hold on. Let me ask the lab guy.
Alright, please hurry.
Wait till you get a load of this, pal. It's Mr. Faraday's. Oh, and the technician said they didn't find anything else on or in the bag either.
It would appear that this bag is a very important piece of evidence.
Okay, you say so. I'll leave it in your hands, pal. Guess there's not much left to investigate, huh? They really did kill each other.
No, we can't conclude that quite yet. There's still something I find very peculiar here. The theory that they simply killed one another is too simplistic in this case. In fact, there is actually a contradiction that shows there is another possibility.
Oh, no way, pal. Really?
I suppose I will just have to show you the conflict in this crime scene. He's left-handed. Now we come face to face with the contradiction I spoke of, and it is this. Mr. Faraday used his left hand to write with this fountain pen. Ergo, he is left-handed. And yet, the handgun is in his right hand. Don't you find it odd that the left-handed Mr. Faraday would hold the gun in his right hand? That, lady and gentlemen, is the great contradiction haunting this crime scene.
Hey, you're right, pal. It does seem kind of strange. But how could something like that happen?
The facts add up to one conclusion, and only one, and one alone. Someone else put the gun in Mr. Faraday's hand after he died.
Someone else?
Plastic bags scattered on the floor, and a gun in the wrong hand. I sense the presence of a shadowy figure behind this case. A person of vile intent, who is serious about keeping the truth from us. Here's the autopsy report.
It is probable that Mr. Rowell survived for a short time after he was shot. However, Mr. Faraday died instantaneously from his stabbing. Interesting. It looks like we now know everything we need to know about this case.
Are you sure we know everything?
Of course, the incident began with Mr. Faraday attempting to get his revenge. The prosecutor went into a rage from being accused and tried to kill the defendant. But the defendant fought back, and they ended up killing each other. It's all very clear and simple. There is absolutely no margin for doubt.
Do you really believe that to be the truth?
Are you saying that just because I figured out the truth before you? And that you don't want to believe it's true? Look. It's alright. If you disagree with my argument, then prove me wrong. Well, if there are any contradictions to be found, that is.
Don't worry, I will.
Mr. Faraday's death was instantaneous, but Mr. Rowell survived for a short time. From this, it is obvious that Mr. Faraday died after he shot Mr. Rowell. And Mr. Rowell, while on the brink of death, stole Mr. Faraday's knife and stabbed him. Those are the facts of this case.
Mr. Faraday's death was instantaneous, therefore he must have attacked first. Proving that logic to be false is probably the fastest way to show her that she's wrong. In that case, I should first look for any holes in her theory. Do you truly believe that Mr. Faraday died instantaneously?
Let the murderer part right here. Mr. Faraday died instantaneously of shock due to being stabbed in the chest. There, you see? It's been documented. Clear as day. Look.
Mr. Faraday shot Mr. Rowell before he died. Do you have any basis for that statement?
Your foolishness has no end, doesn't? Now I have to repeat myself. However, now I hate to repeat myself. However, Mr. Faraday died instantaneously. That's all the basis I need.
Alright. So if Mr. Faraday died instantaneously, then he must have attacked Mr. Rowell before being stabbed.
You're finally beginning to catch on, I see.
So you believe that the dying Mr. Rowell stole the knife from Mr. Faraday?
Mr. Rowell became desperate, as he did not want to die. Human beings can do amazing things when they are put to the test. So the two men struggled, and in the end Mr. Rowell was able to grab the knife and stab Mr. Faraday. The messy condition of this room is a testament to their struggle. Yes, my logic is perfectly sound.
Can you really say that it's perfect?
What are you insinuating?
Nothing. However, I can't let what you said slide by without further inquiry. One must be clear and precise. So if you could append that statement to your testimony.
Fine. He struggled and Mr. Rowell used the last of his strength to counterattack Mr. Faraday.
About this statement.
Mr. Rowell used all of his remaining strength to take that knife and defend himself. One can easily see that they had a violent struggle. Of course, it's nothing compared to what my riding crop can do.
Not as well compare the damage her crop can do with the state of this room.
Furthermore, all the plastic bags on the floor in this room are scattered there due to the fight. Is there anything else that I can explain for you?
No, that will be fine. Claiming speculation as fact already, don't you feel that the evidence is a bit lacking?
You'll find all the evidence you need just by looking around this room. Mr. Faraday collapsed on top of Mr. Rowell. In addition, Mr. Faraday died instantaneously, making a counterattack impossible. Furthermore, the room is a total mess from that fight. I dare say that there is more evidence here than you could whip at.
It looks like she's becoming more and more confident. And looking at this place, she might have a right to be. After all, everything here seems to support her theory.
It looks like you're starting to see my point. I've as good as won a little competition.
There's something strange about Francesca's theory. I should compare her claim with the data I've gathered thus far. I just know there's a contradiction somewhere. Crap it hell. Shit. What did I just do? If the two men were fighting, their struggle would have surely caused quite a bit of noise. However, Detective Gumshoe testified that he heard absolutely nothing.
You place too much faith in that detective's testimony, you know. But for the sake of argument, let's say that was... Bleh. For the sake of argument, let's say that there wasn't a fight. How then did Mr. Rowell get his hands on the knife?
Mr. Faraday's bag was sitting right here in lobby number 2. It is not hard to imagine that perhaps Mr. Rowell saw a chance and took it out at some point.
So, what you're saying is this. Mr. Rowell took a chance when he saw the opportunity and took the knife from the bag. And then Mr. Faraday shot Mr. Rowell after being stabbed.
Isn't there something strange in Francesca's statement just now?
Yep.
Wait, something doesn't add up.
Oh, really?
It's simply not possible for Mr. Faraday to have shot Mr. Rowell after being stabbed.
Take that!
According to the coroner's report, Mr. Faraday died instantaneously, meaning that he died immediately upon being stabbed by the knife. Ergo, he could not possibly have fired the gun after that.
Oh, you got me.
But of course.
Well then, if the report is correct, then there is only one correct explanation. If we suppose that Mr. Rowell attacked first, then Mr. Faraday, who died instantaneously, would have been unable to kill Mr. Rowell. Therefore, Mr. Rowell must have stabbed Mr. Faraday after he was shot, then they both died. That is the only explanation that makes logical sense.
Negating your opponent's ideas in order to prove your own theory. I see you've been studying, Francesca.
I just wanted to explain it to you as simply as possible. Before you foolishly propose a foolish theory that only a foolish fool like you could.
How naive of you to believe that only your opinions are valid. I still expect to discover the truth, but the crimes you not assume. Francesca, you've still got a ways to go.
What are you talking about? Are you saying there's a flaw in my logic?
Mr. Faraday died instantly, and the fact that he did is what gives rise to the contradiction in this scene. The contradiction here in this crime scene is... Let me get this straight. What you are saying is this. Mr. Faraday took the gun from his evidence bag and shot Mr. Rowell. Then, the wounded Mr. Rowell found an opportunity to take the knife and strike back. On being stabbed, Mr. Faraday died on the spot, and Mr. Rowell died thereafter. If that's the case, then how do you explain this? Take a good look at the order in which the bodies are piled.
No.
Mr. Faraday's body is lying on top of Mr. Rowell's. Therefore, Mr. Rowell must have died before Mr. Faraday.
Impossible.
Yes. Blech. Yes, I agree that it seems strange no matter what angle you approach it from. Which means that the real mystery behind this crime scene that we must know is...
No, not so fast, Miles Edgeworth.
What now?
I simply think that you ought to think a bit more outside the box. And that it's even clearer now that the incident started with Mr. Faraday's murderous intent.
She sure bounced back quickly. An explanation won't be enough this time. It's going to take some very decisive evidence to prove her wrong. I need to get some water or something because blech. So still have well, that's a terrible place for it at the moment. What I'll do. Okay, I'll be back in a few minutes or so.
I'm a bit hungry. Hopefully I'll be better by the time it gets to the TV continued. If not, then... Anyway.
It was just chance that Mr. Faraday's body fell on top of Mr. Rell's. The two bodies fell into the pile, which indicates that they attacked each other at the same time. It really doesn't matter in the slightest that they fell in the opposite order.
I just know that Francesca's explanation is absolutely correct. All I have to do is find a hole in her logic. Once I do, I can then present her with the evidence that proves the contradiction.
Hold it!
About that.
Tracing someone's testimony in order to gain some time to think. You're a real one-trick pony, aren't you? It's too bad your tricks only works on fools.
That wasn't my intent. I simply wish for more details as to how Mr. Faraday ended up on top of Mr. Rowell.
Someone's impatient. I was just about to explain everything to you. So do you think you could hold on for a minute?
Francesca, I'll make you a deal. I'll hold on if you hold on to that whip of yours.
Oh, I'll hold on to it all right, as I whip you. Well now, that you're acquitted. Well, now that you quieted down a bit, I'd like to continue if you don't mind.
The two fell on top of each other. Don't you find that to be just a bit strange?
Not at all.
I can see it in her eyes. She's dead set against me from the bottom of her heart.
Miles Edgeworth, once I'm done here, you'll see that there's nothing strange at all. Now then, the two men fell into a pile.
What do you mean by they attacked each other at the same time?
I assume Mr. Faraday had the two different weapons in his hands. He made to attack Mr. Rowell while holding both the knife and the revolver. And then, after Mr. Faraday fired the gun, Mr. Rowell grabbed the knife as he was falling and stabbed Mr. Faraday. That is how Mr. Rowell wound up on the bottom and Mr. Faraday on top. At close range, that is more than possible.
Yes, it's possible, but...
Well, if you have any other ideas, then show me what you've got.
Oh, I will. And to that extent, I'd like for you to append what you just said to your testimony.
I don't see any point to that, but as you please. That fact indicates that they attacked each other at the same time from close range.
You're saying that they attacked each other at the same time from close range?
Exactly. Mr. Faraday pointed the gun at Mr. Rowell's chest and pulled the trigger. Mr. Rowell then took the knife from Mr. Faraday and stabbed him before he fell unconscious. The dead Mr. Faraday instantly fell on top of Mr. Rowell from the stabbing, pinning Mr. Rowell under him, where he died shortly thereafter. And that's how they ended up on top of each other, with no contradictions to be seen.
Do you really believe they fell in the exact opposite order in which they attacked?
Miles Edgeworth, you're not listening to a word that I'm saying. They both attacked each other at the same time, and Mr. L fell first by chance, leaving Mr. Faraday to just happen to fall on top of him. Then Mr. L died shortly thereafter, pinned underneath Mr. Faraday. And that's how it happened.
So the two men attacked each other with Mr. L randomly falling down first. The fact that the order that they attacked each other in varies from the order that they fell in doesn't cause a problem for me. However, there's definitely one certain aspect that I'm having trouble swallowing.
Objection!
So you believe they killed each other at close range? Sorry, but that's impossible. Just as it is written in the crime scene notes, the firing of the handgun did not leave a gunpowder burn on Mr. L's clothes. Therefore, Mr. L and the gun must have been separated by a distance of at least 2 or 3 yards. Yes, this is by far the biggest contradiction. The two bodies are piled up on each other, yet the gun was fired from a distance. And with there being no chance that Mr. L moved that far after being shot, that leaves only one possible explanation.
But a completely foolish line of foolish thought from a thoroughly foolish fool. If I'm not right, then who was it that made the first move with the intent to kill, huh? Who?
And the person that attacked first with murderous intent, that would be here in this room. Contradictions appear no matter which man we claim attacked first. Thus, there can be only one explanation. There was a third person here. It was that third person who killed both Mr. Faraday and Mr. L, and set their bodies up to make it look like a double murder. That third person is the real culprit.
Miles Edgeworth, there's just one thing you're missing.
Evidence, correct?
Exactly. Everything you've said up until now is nothing but a story played out in your head. However, this is where the real test begins. Can you prove that there was a third person involved in this crime?
Of course. If a third person was truly here, that fact will resolve the glaring contradiction. The proof that this has all been a setup made to look like they killed each other. I'll present it, and lay bare the final piece of the puzzle that's not yet in place. What is the piece of evidence that proves there is a third person involved?
Take that!
The gun in Mr. Faraday's hand, and the plastic bag with his blood on it. These two items point to the presence of a third person.
How so?
Recall Detective Gumshoe's testimony.
I was in the hallway the whole time, but I didn't hear a single peep of a struggle.
If there wasn't a struggle in this room, then there shouldn't be any plastic bags on the ground, meaning that someone else must have deliberately scattered them around. Do you not see the possibility in this? Disregarding the gun for the moment, there's a high probability of blood splatter when a knife is used on a person. If the culprit held the knife with a plastic bag around it, they could use the bag to catch any blood splatter from when they withdrew the knife. Then, by spreading a few more plastic bags around, mixing the bloody one in with them, and arranging the room to make it look like there was a struggle between the two, they were able to conceal their presence.
Looks like we've still got a long way to go in the investigation. Yes.
Objection!
What the heck's up with you, pal?
Mr. Bad, I advise you to place Detective Gumshoe under arrest.
What?
What's the meaning of this?
Looks like you're not man enough to discipline your own subordinates.
Don't you dare.
That detective claims he was there standing in front of the door the entire time. And I have it on good authority that it was all a giant lie.
Miss Yu, I ask that you please explain that last statement.
I'll let His Honor explain it himself.
I saw it with my own eyes, I tell you. During the recess, there was a period of time when there was no one in the hallway. What?
See, Mr. Bad? So I ask you, why would a detective who was supposedly doing his job the whole time want to fabricate such a lie?
Gumshoe, did you kill Faraday?
No! Of course not, sir.
It would appear that the one who set this whole crime scene up is that detective, which basically renders his testimony a complete lie and wholly invalid. It looks like your perfect logic has just come tumbling down, Miles.
I was in the hallway the whole time. I didn't hear a single peep of a struggle.
Was that statement really a lie? Detective Gumshoe, you're now a suspect in the murder of 2 men. Now spit out the truth, or so help me.
I haven't lied to anyone, sir. Honest. I really was there. I was in the hallway the whole time.
Hold it!
Detective Bad, I ask that you please do not act without my permission. After all, I am the one that has headed up this investigation, am I not? Don't talk like you know what's going on, boy. All I want is for this investigation to run perfectly.
Perfection is the only wish of a disciple of Ankama, after all.
Therefore, before you take Detective Gumshoe into custody, I'd like to set the record straight on something. And what's that? What should I ask Detective Gumshoe about? I suppose the one thing I'd like clarified is Detective Gumshoe's motive for committing this crime. Motive, huh? Gumshoe, you got a grudge against Faraday or anything?
No, sir. Not me. Not a single bad thing against Mr. Faraday, sir.
Is that a fact?
You really have a problem with lying, don't you, Detective Gumshoe?
I'm telling you, I am not lying.
The more unnatural you act, the more suspicious you become, you know. You want a motive, Edgeworth? I have one for you right here.
Could you please share it with us? However, be forewarned that I won't hesitate to object to flights of fancy, because all I'm interested in is the perfect explanation.
Ah, you're serious, aren't you? Fine. You amuse me, so I'll humour you with a little courtroom practice. It was about a week ago. I saw the detective get chewed out by a livid Faraday in front of the precinct. He stood there super pale as Mr. Faraday yelled, "That's a salary cut for you, you nitwit." brand new detective suddenly getting his salary cut. That's reason enough for a grudge. Well, how's that for a perfect explanation?
You totally misunderstand me, pal. No matter how mad I get, I could never hold a grudge.
Quiet. We can't trust anything you say.
Sir,
There's nothing wrong with the motive she proposed, per se. But there are some gaps in her logic that need to be filled in. Miss Yu's perfect explanation may not be so perfect at all.
Hold it!
A week ago, then you and Detective Gumshoe are acquaintances.
No way. I only met him in person today.
Well, then how did you know about Detective Gumshoe?
Oh, I've seen him around before.
Hold it!
Mr. Faraday was upset.
Yeah. You know what else? Mr. Faraday isn't exactly known to get angry often. But there he was, totally beat red in the face. And the offending detective just stood there, pale as a ghost like he was about to die. Just like the face he's making right now.
I'm completely innocent, I tell you.
The poor man.
It was quite the scene with the detective.
Hold it!
You just stood there watching this unfold in front of you.
Yeah, I have to say it was really enjoyable too. But that's why, when I saw Detective Gumshoe earlier, I knew to steer clear of him.
Oh, no way. I thought it was because I had something stuck on my face.
But you do!
Oh, what have I got stuck on my face?
Let's start with your eyes, nose, mouth. Oh, and those ridiculous eyebrows.
What?
Oh man, messing with your head is just too much fun.
Miss Yu, if you don't mind, I'd like to return to your testimony now.
Sure, why not?
Hold it!
Took out a new detective's salary right off the bat like that.
I'm not really familiar with the way you guys relate, but is that a common practice?
Speaking of cutting my salary, didn't you threaten to do that to me earlier too?
I suppose I did.
It's only natural to cut a worthless detective's salary down to their actual worth. My father can even fire anyone new or old with a snap of his fingers. Do you think maybe there's a reason enough the detectives to hate you people?
Well, I guess they really shouldn't cut people's pay. Detective Bad, don't tell me Mr. Von Karma cut your salary earlier.
Hold it!
You call your explanation perfect?
Is it not to your liking?
Unfortunately for you, it's just not up to my standards.
Oh, is there something you want me to clarify in that case?
What should I do? Should I raise an objection?
Yeah.
Alright, if you could clear this one thing up for me. I understand Detective Gumshoe's potential motive for killing Mr. Faraday. However, what about his motive for killing Mr. Rell?
the motive for killing Rel? Like I would know.
If there was no clear motive for both of the murders, then I doubt this incident would have occurred. Wouldn't you agree? Is there anyone else who might have had a grudge against either of the two men? Or should we look into that ourselves?
Oh, in that case, I have absolutely no idea.
What? That's impossible. She must know something.
Wait! Can you please not glare at me like that? It makes me laugh.
I didn't even do anything and you're already laughing anyway. Laughing away.
Well, anyway, the way I see it, as long as he had a motive to kill one of the two, this crime would have played out the way it did anyway.
Oh, would you care to explain your logic? And this time, please try to provide a truly perfect explanation.
Perfect this, perfect that. Stop being so uptight. Or is that a requisite trait for being a Von Karma? Miles Edgeworth, I demand that you shut this rude woman up.
I wish you would both be quiet for just 1 second.
Oh well, I guess I'll just have to explain it to you kids. There's no one out there with a motive to kill both Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rel. All you really have to establish is that someone had a grudge against one of the two men. Mr. Rel, who happened to be there because of witness, became a witness to Mr. Faraday's murder. Therefore, he was killed out of necessity, and set up to look like they had killed each other.
I wonder if that's really true. Is there no one out there with a grudge against both men? I should take another hard look at the evidence for this morning's case. A second KG incident, as people are calling it, involving an embassy staff member. And the two men who both wound up as suspects in the case. Is there someone else I'm overlooking who is somehow related to them?
Hold it!
So there is no one who might have a grudge against both Mr. Faraday and Mr. Bell.
I suppose no one is a bit of a stretch. But I'm pretty sure no one like that was here in this courthouse today.
She's lying through her teeth. We just saw someone like that here earlier.
Besides, you don't need to prove that the killer had a grudge against both men.
Hold it!
Someone with a grudge against one of the men. In that case, aren't there plenty of other people who fit the bill?
Well, after all, who doesn't garner scorn from another simply by being alive? But the only one who held a grudge and acted upon it by killing was Detective Gumshoe. Furthermore,
Hold it!
So you're saying that he was basically silenced?
aren't you glad you managed to avoid the same fate, Your Honor? Why, if you had been the one to witness the blood-covered detective...
What? What, Detective Gumshoe? You would kill even me? What? I could never do something as terrible as that, Your Honor. There's no need for even a second of deliberation. I will hand down my verdict.
Your Honor, take a look around. We are not in court right now. It would be greatly appreciated if you would stay here with us in reality.
Please forgive me. I know not what I do.
And you then, Miss You. Hurry up and continue with your testimony. If you fail to do so, I will whip you into shape. That's nice. Sounds kind of like fun, actually. Anyway, Detective Gumshoe, had to erase the witness, Mr. Rell.
Hold it!
I didn't do it, pal.
No hard feelings, but I don't think we can take the word of a criminal seriously.
But I can't even begin to think up ways to set up a crime scene.
But suppose you do lack the necessary tactical mind required to do such a thing.
Oh, why'd you have to kick a man when he's down, pal?
You shouldn't put yourself down, Detective. You're a big boy. I bet you thought it up all by yourself, right?
Yeah, that's right. I worked really hard at it too.
I think this proves one thing about the detective. He has the mental acuity of a worm. I have to admit, her explanation makes sense. However, there is also something she overlooked in her testimony. I should present that piece of evidence and see if I can't make her see the truth.
Objection!
Miss You, I believe there is someone you overlooked in making your statement. Or rather, is it because you'd rather not bring this person up?
What do you mean?
We are looking for someone with a reason to kill both Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell. I can think of at least one person that fits the bill. He was the suspect in the original KG-8 incident, and a member of the Carthadian embassy staff, Mr. Manny Cohen. That's right, the very man who came to visit you earlier out in the hallway. The man who killed a member of the Carthadian embassy staff, Mr. Rell, and the man who was the lead prosecutor of the KG-8 incident, Mr. Faraday. Are you telling me that Mr. Cohen has no reason at all to kill both of these men?
Well, I suppose he might have a reason or two.
You covered for me, pal. Maybe you're not such a bad guy after all.
Don't get ahead of yourself. You're still a suspect, make no mistake about that. The perfect evidence, the perfect testimony, these are the only things I wish to hold.
But I didn't do it.
You will stay under my authority and go investigate Mr. Manny Cohen for me. And remember, I will not be very forgiving should any of... You want to investigate Cohen? You'd just be wasting your time. And why is that? Cohen was up in the viewing gallery watching the trial, or so I was told. Every cop in this place has been keeping an eye on the guy since he arrived.
So the only real suspect we have is still Detective Gumshoe.
I suppose so.
Oh, no way. Come on, Detective Bad. You gotta believe me, sir. I really was in that hallway the whole time, sir. I never took a single step into this room, sir.
Okay. And are you saying there was someone else who passed through the hallway?
No, there was no one else, sir.
Then why should I believe you didn't do it?
There is one incredibly foolish detective, standing right in front of a crime scene all by himself. It's as good as a confession of guilt.
I have to admit, it's a bit strange. Most criminals will fabricate some sort of lie to escape their crimes. And if that detective really wanted to prove that he is innocent, you'd think he would at the very least offer up, I spaced out while on duty or the like. Come on, Gumshoe. Time for your interrogation.
Oh, Detective Bad.
Yes, Edgeworth. I've gone ahead and report this to Papa.
And that, as they say, is that. Right, everyone?
Well, I suppose we should both be getting back to our real jobs now, huh?
Before we do, Miss Yu, there is something I'd like to speak with you about.
What is it?
Set these two men up and make it look like they killed each other. There's one thing I cannot forgive, it's the desecration of the dead.
So, what did you want to ask me about?
In the current case of the murdered Copadian embassy staff member, I've heard that people had begun calling it the second KG-8 incident.
Only among you law enforcement types. And what about it?
I'd like for you to tell me everything you know about the original KG-8 incident.
I'm afraid I can't help you. I don't know anything beyond what was reported in the papers.
No, I believe you know much more, since you are directly tied to the KG-8 incident.
I'd appreciate it if you'd stop with the false accusations. Baseless outbursts are useless both inside and outside the courtroom, don't you know?
I do, but I also know that I do have a leg to stand on here.
Think you can stop making that ultra-serious face in front of me?
If you could please stop laughing for just 1 second. I'm not going to make any headway like this. I'm just going to have to show her exactly how related to the KG-8 incident she is. Miss Yu, I believe that I approve of your connection to the KG-8 incident.
That file is your proof? Very well then. Why don't you tell me exactly how I'm related to the KG-8 incident? The victim.
Your connection to the KG-8 incident is through the victim. The victim's name is CCU. You will note that she has the same last name as you. Can you really still tell me with a straight face that you are not related to this case?
Sorry, but we're not related. What? Just kidding. You asked that question with such a serious look on your face that I couldn't help but...
Miss Yu, I ask that you please tell me the truth.
Ahem. Alright, I'll tell you everything I know. As you guessed, the one who reported the smuggling activities of the Amana group was my sister, CCU.
As I thought.
And she was killed right before she was to testify at the impending trial by Manny Cohen. But because he was tried once and was acquitted, he gets to live out the rest of his cushy life completely carefree.
Or because of a lack of evidence.
No, I heard that the evidence to convict him did exist.
What?
I heard it from Mr. Faraday himself after Mr. Cohen's trial was over. Apparently a man in black made off with the most important piece of evidence.
Then the evidence had been tampered with.
Isn't it just like a criminal to do something like that? The smuggling ring being run out of the Amano group by one of its secretaries. They bailed Mr. Cohen out. Turns out they were in league with each other all along.
How big was that smuggling ring? Was it a large operation?
I don't really know. Which is why I wanted to become the lead defense on this case that people are calling the second KG8 incident. But I haven't learned anything new at all. I was probably expecting too much, I know.
You mean you think this case has nothing to do with the smuggling ring?
I don't know what to think.
Why did Mr. Cohen want to meet with you earlier?
Actually, he came to watch the trial. Apparently, he only found out that I was the defense lawyer on this case after he had arrived. He figured he should say hi and one other thing. Looks like you couldn't resolve anything this time either. Too bad.
What's that supposed to mean?
Oh boy, stop it with the scary face already. I'm fine, really. I gave him a good slap across the face.
And the way she talks about slapping him as she laughs away is kind of creepy.
But it's just as Mr. Bad said. He's not related to the double murder. I asked around and people in the gallery claimed that he was in his seat the entire time. Talk about cruel fate. Well, this is about all I know. Sorry. Guess I wasn't much help, huh?
That's not true. I'm sorry I made you recall such a painful time in your life.
Edgeworth, you really are too serious for your own good. You really need to learn to relax. We wouldn't want you to die of stress, would we?
Thank you for the advice, but there's no need to worry. I work in my own way, and I will catch this criminal in my own way as well. You'll see.
Oh, look at you with your game face on, ready to go.
I'm making no such face.
Did you know? Laughter is the best medicine, Edgeworth. Don't you get tired of making such a serious face all the time?
I'm charged with making sure that all the criminals of this world are found guilty. I have no need for laughter.
There you go, making that face again. Oh well. I've got to get going. I still have a few loose ends I need to tie up.
KG8 incident and this murder investigation. It is my belief that these two cases are related to each other somehow. Plus, that Detective Gumshoe. It's obvious he's lying, even though the lie is hurting his chances. Clearly this case is far from over. But whether or not that detective is the murderer can only be determined once I've completed my perfect investigation. Mr. Von Karma, I swear to uphold your honourable name, or my name isn't Miles Edgeworth.
God, if only you knew.
Expect I have to do one calmer's voice as well. I am going to need to go now. I am not feeling well. And I'm not getting better. So that will have to be all for now. I'll be back with more tomorrow.